And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel guys. I hope you're all well. Before we do get into today's video, as always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. Guys, in today's video we're going to be going over the game yesterday, of course our result, or 2-2 draw against Benfica. Whilst also going over why Rangers have been handed a huge Champions League boost. So quite a few bits and pieces to go over, but let's start of course with the result yesterday. Of course, going to the Estadio da Luz, there was a lot of pressure on Benfica, of course coming off the back of losing 5-0 to FC Porto, the game prior to that losing 2-1 to Sporting Lisbon, and as stated in the Portuguese media, they were coming under fire and there was a lot of pressure on the team. Now a lot of talk going into that game was on Benfica and whether they would be feeling sorry for themselves or would they be coming out the hatches and trying to put on a show with a point to prove. And we've seen basically that they are a decent side, but certainly a side that are lacking confidence and attacking impetus. I felt like we played our game very, very well. And again, I know it's a cliche saying, but at the start of the match, if you had offered me a draw at the Estadio da Luz, I would have bitten your hand off for it and I would have taken it. And we got that draw and I'm super happy. A lot of Rangers fans, including myself, probably a little bit sad that we didn't hang on for the victory, just considering we had a hand in for both of the goals, quite literally. And yeah, I just feel like we could have probably came away there with a win. But as stated, we did play very, very well. We stuck to our game plan, and as I said, we've lit up the tie, and it's all to play for at Ibrox next week. A story that we've seen play out many, many, many times over the last few years, especially in this cup competition. So again, going into it, they had a lot to prove, and I felt that we shut them out very, very well. And of course, we do get the early goal through Tom Lawrence, which was absolutely fantastic to see. And then from there, as I said, from every man, really, we were sort of defending well, we were keeping our shape, and we were making it very, very hard for them, Benfica, to do anything. And whilst they had a lot of possession, and like they would when they're chasing the game, they didn't really make much of it. When they did make of it, or made opportunities, there was a couple in the first half, or early in the first half. Jack Butland pulled off some really, really incredible saves, but apart from those saves after that, they never really came with a clear-cut chance, in my personal opinion. And then of course the penalty is given, and they get a way back into it through John Souttar's handball. I do think we're very, very unfortunate looking back on it. I think I said yesterday, or last night's reaction, if that was made in England, Ali McCoy said the same thing. If it was made in Scotland, I don't know if that would have been given. I don't know if that would have been given as a penalty. So I do believe we were very, very unfortunate with it, just because I think where the rules state that if it kind of hits your head and then your arm, it's not a penalty, but I do think we were very, very unfortunate with it. However, look, we didn't sit around feeling sorry for ourselves. We went up the other end, a good bit of play, and Dujon Sterling gets the second goal. And as I said, we go into the halftime break back in the lead. So again, a very, very positive first half from that point of view. In the second half, again, a bit the same. We were expecting Benfica to dominate a lot of the play, which they did. They're chasing the game, a lot of pressure on them, the fans against them at this moment in time. And again, we gift them another goal, of course, from a set piece. There was no danger. Connor Goldson, as he did last time at the Estadio da Luz, just stuck in an own goal. Last time, I think he got the quickest own goal in Europa League history with 60 seconds. This time, he waited until the second half, 63rd minute, I think, to give them their goal back, which is super unfortunate because that was just a lack of communication. I'm not sure what Goldson was doing at that moment in time, but certainly one that we shouldn't have gave away. Now, going up the other end, I think the players just wanted to kind of play for a draw, play for the result at that moment in time. So we defended well, we did our bit, and looking back on it, whilst we did play a hand and put a hand into both of those goals, we are fairly disappointed that we couldn't get a win. But at the start of the game and at half-time, to be perfectly honest, if you said take a draw now, I would have took a draw. And as I said, it's all to play for in Ibrox next week. However, there is another game before that one, of course, that being against Hibernian in the Scottish Cup. The Scottish Cup returning once again. It feels like the games are coming thick and fast. And we're going to Easter Road, another tricky test for us, but another cup competition we want to progress in. Hibernian at this moment in time, haven't been the greatest of sides in terms of this season. More recently, they've come into a form. The last time they got beat was against Celtic, and then they've kind of turned over a page, and they've managed to keep unbeaten and managed to get a few draws and a couple of wins here. But as stated, in the overall campaign for themselves, they've had a pretty poor campaign, a very inconsistent campaign, and do sit sixth. So the Scottish Cup is something that they're probably looking to try and do something with, but we need to be at our best once again. Whilst, of course, that is our next battle, I'm going to keep on the European front, and Rangers and Scottish football have been handed a huge Champions League boost. Now, I do kind of give you these updates now and then with regards to the Champions League and the coefficient and stuff, but basically Scotland's automatic path into the Champions League was handed a potential boost after the latest round of European fixtures last night. Yes, Scotland sit just inside UEFA's top 10 when it comes to the governing body's coefficient ranking table. Retaining this place is imperative when securing automatic passage from the champions of Scotland in the Champions League. In the wave of European ties before the last 16 round, the Czech Republic dealt Scotland's hope for Rangers and Celtic a hammer blow. With 3 teams remaining across the Europa League and Conference League, the Czechs caught up with Scotland by getting their coefficient score to 35.3, with Scotland sitting at 35.85. It was a terrible result for Scotland's coefficient, with the Czechs holding a distinct advantage in this situation, because they have 3 teams remaining in European competitions. While the Scots are solely reliant on Rangers to fly the flag, so of course, while Rangers' progression into the quarter-final of this season's Europa League is now vital to keeping 10th spot in the rankings and not dropping down to 11th, it would be more beneficial for Scotland if all 3 Czech teams were eliminated as soon as possible. And after last night's last 16 leg encounters from a Scottish perspective, thankfully for that, it looks like it's a possibility. As we've already stated, Rangers did earn a 2-2 draw against Benfica. Both Sparta and Slavia Prague suffered heavy defeats at the hands of Liverpool and AC Milan respectively, 5-1 and 4-2. And then the former will play at Anfield next week, with the latter welcoming the Serie A side to the Czech capital. Into the Conference League, and the only Czech team to come away with a positive result was Victoria Pleasant. Their first leg against Servette ended goalless in Switzerland, meaning they'll be confident of making a home advantage count in the return leg. With Rangers earning 0.5 points in Lisbon, that means Scotland stay in front of the Czechs by 0.5. So in order for Scotland to cling on to its top spot inside the top 10, Rangers need to overcome Benfica next week, with the hope that all 3 Czech teams exit European competition. If Scotland manages to keep 10th, there, whoever wins the Premiership will remain in line to automatically qualify for the Champions League and the £40 million riches that come with that accolade. With the Czechs close behind in the coefficient table, this obviously is under threat. However, regardless of the outcome in the coefficient stakes, whoever does win the Scottish Premiership this season will automatically enter the revamped Champions League next term, with any potential changes coming into play the following campaign, which is the 25-26 season. So yeah, as stated, with every positive result that we have in Europe, it actually does benefit Scotland, which means we always have to follow up domestically and make sure that we're getting the fruits of our labour, which we haven't done in recent years, doing all the legwork in Europe and allowing Celtic to get pretty much £80 million from automatic Champions League for the last 2 seasons, when we're dropping bollocks domestically. So that's why we need to make sure that we do beat Benfica, make sure that we keep this Scotland coefficient going up, but we need to be in charge of our own destiny, and that's of course win our league so we get the automatic Champions League this year and the 3 years after. So yes, a lot to play for, but we need to be making sure that we're in control of our own destiny and not allowing Celtic to take the fruits of our labour. But Rangers fans, let me know your final thoughts on the result yesterday. Do you believe we can get a win at Ibrox against Benfica? Yes or no? Let me know down in the comment section below. And let me know your thoughts with regards to the Champions League. Again, in the comments, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Take care.